Hello everyone, and welcome for this new release announcement for the first release of the year. So happy New Year for everyone. This is Xen Orchestra 5.103. This one is pre-recorded because we are attending a community event for the Xen project called the Xen Winter Meetup, and so we cannot be, deduplicated. So we are recording this today. In fact, we are Monday. So we don't have all the screenshots to show you right now in the blog post, but still, I will, go around all the features and new exciting stuff that is coming because believe me, this year, 2025 will be really huge for the entire Vates VMS stack from XCP-ng, Xen Orchestra, and everything around it. So let's start and let's discuss first, as we discuss usually, about what's up in the project and community, meaning everything around Xen Orchestra, but that's really important. And the first topic is about we need your feedback on the new translation platform. So it was announced as we made experiments, last month working around it. So it's called Weblate. And basically, you can easily submit translations for keywords or words that would be used then to generate automatically a pull request. So it remove the complexity to participate to the project, because for you it's just going onto web UI, fill some fields in the form and click enter, and then the hard work or the heavy lifting of just creating PR and so on is done in an automated fashion. So we'd like to have your feedback on it, meaning that if you can go on the platform called Weblate, so it's translate.vates.tech. You click on the link here and you will have access to it. So do not submit, huge translation with all words. We just want to double check the process is working correctly with that tool. So, just go ahead, register, submit like a language that you are, very familiar with and few words, submit, and we'll see if it works like we hope it does. And it might become the next default tools to get translation for both Xen Orchestra 6 and Exolite. So, feedback welcome. About feedback, let's switch to a very, well-expected topic, which is removing the 2 terabyte limitation for copy on write, storage, and so on. So we did it. We have a prototype. We announced like it might be early this year or even January. So it is the case. So I won't enter in all the details, but obviously it's, alpha stage right now. But if you install the packages, then automatically all your new VDI, all your new virtual disk that you are creating will be on QCO2 format and not VHD, meaning you don't have any size limitation. So right now, I think the artificial limitation we are putting for kind of safety net is around 16 terabytes, so gives you lots to manage, but in the future it might be even without any limits. Anyway, it means that you don't have to create a new SR. You can reuse your existing storage. Just apply the modification on the forum. There's a dedicated link explaining to you how to exactly do that. You can even roll back, but still it's not production ready yet. It works right now as this Monday, the 27th, works with file-based storage repository, so NFS and local ext. Anyway, we're also testing it internally, but more feedback we have, and sooner the feedback we have, you can expect it sooner to get being production ready. And we target end of this quarter to get something that is on general availability, including support for it, including all the backup and so on. But already got many interesting features working, like snapshots, resizing, exports with like XVA exports. They are working basically with QCO2, which is really great. Imports also. So it's pretty cool. It works pretty well, and we need your feedback, obviously, and we'll continue to improve it until getting to GA status, so general availability. And obviously, this is a great, blocker. I mean, you could have raw drives. It worked well for beyond 2 terabyte, but you didn't have live migration and so on. And with this, capability, it works pretty well, and you can enjoy pretty much everything you are enjoying right now with the existing storage stack, but without the 2 terabyte limitation. And we are even going beyond because we are adding more and more features. And so it will go, let's say, beyond the VHD support features, like we might have trim and so on. So anyway, go ahead, go into the forum thread, provide your feedback. It is very, very welcome. We need you to test it. And we hope that you will enjoy it, because it was kind of hard work, but we are really proud that the storage team made it, and it required like Xen expertise, very low level tab disk expertise, but also Zappy expertise and SMAPI expertise. So it was really great teamwork. So kudos to the team who made it, and we are really eager to get your feedback. Talking about feedback, we are also waiting for your feedback, but this way on another topic, maybe a topic you are more, I don't know, into it. We created a dedicated DevOps team this year. It will be a 3-person, almost dedicated for all DevOps, let's say, tooling around XCP and XO. So this means like, Ansible, Packer, Terraform, things we already have, but to have dedicated maintainers and people to exactly hear what you need, what you expect, to be sure it could be real, in the next month. So to be sure we understand exactly what you are expecting, there's a dedicated thread on the forum where we're listening to you, and where we'll move forward to provide you more automation and more integration between various, Kubernetes tools and so on around the stack. So, use that, the fact that we are really open with our community to shape the future of the DevOps tool around, XCP and Xen Orchestra. So same thing, eager to, get your feedback and to understand exactly what you are seeking to move forward. January is also the month of getting new, maintenance updates and security updates for XCP-NG. As you know, there's XCP 8.2, which is LTS, and 8.3, and we have updates for both. And there are a mix of security updates, various improvements, and so on. But as usual, for any monthly updates, we really push you to make those updates, because we spend a lot of time to test them, and we have a clean sheet track record of providing updates without breaking any production since the first release of XCP-NG 7.3. So it's a pretty great track record. We test it internally with the community before it's out and so on. So don't be shy, get the updates. It protects you from any security issues. So it's really something you should do, and there is many mechanism like rolling pull update in Xen Orchestra and so on to be sure it works without even spending some efforts to do it. You can even plan those updates on weekend and so on. So yeah, feel free to do so. Let's switch now to the content of Xen Orchestra release for this January, and as usual, we start with a backup thing, as backup is still, like, I would say, one of the core features we offer inside Xen Orchestra. So the first one is a change in the encryption algorithm for encrypted backups. We introduce a new one, HA20, which is basically replacing AES 256 GCM as a default algorithm. So we did that because, well, this algorithm is like used everywhere. Like, it was the base algorithm used by WireGuard. It's now used in SSH. It's also recommended by the French Cybersecurity Agency as being really strong. So there is a link to the Wikipedia article if you want to learn more about how it works. But it's really, really great. It works very well. So it's also an authenticated algorithm. So this means you have data integrity and confidentiality with it, like you had with AES. So the fact that we were using, the fact that it is, let's say, authenticated, we also use it to remove useless checks that we had previously for encrypted backups. Going back on that in a few, but still, it might be in some maybe configuration just a bit, let's say, 10%, 20%, let's say, slower than AES. However, AES had a 64 gigabyte file size limit, which is not a problem if you are using like block-based storage backups. But if you are using full backups with XVA files for files larger than 64 gig, then it triggered a bug, because that's the limit for AES formats. So that's why we decided to migrate to this one. If you want to use the new one, you need to create a new backup repository, and by default, it will be this new algorithm. However, because it's not yet FIPS certified, if you really need to, keep using AES, just keep the backup repository, and you will stay on AES. If you need to create a new backup repository with AES for compliance reason, you can still do it manually. So let us know if you need to do that. It's a possibility. Anyway, the new algorithm is really great. It's a pretty good standard, and it doesn't have the limitation of AES 256. So that's why we made the transition, and it's a smooth one. We are not removing the previous one. Oh, also, as I said, now it's a lot faster because we are not doing the checksum anymore for encrypted backups. Because again, as it is authenticated, then it means that checksum is redundant and not needed. So that's why we just remove that, meaning that the encrypted backup are a lot faster. I mean, even if you switch to AES to JH20, all in all, it's a lot faster because the redundant checksums are removed. We also made various modification on the backup. I won't enter in all the details, but basically you have more data on the space used if you use replication. And if you use encrypted SR, you cannot disable a blocks format for backup anymore, because if you do that, this can cause some issues. So it's more like a low-level protection against misconfiguration than a feature by itself. But again, everything that is reducing the load of supports or the community needs, that's great. We also improved a lot the backup documentation page regarding encryption, regarding grandfather and son retention and so on. So if you didn't check this documentation recently in the last months or so, take a look. It's a lot better and might provide you some really interesting information regarding how it works and how to configure it. So now we got a technical writer working on improving that doc, so worth really taking a look. Good. Let's switch to the core UI. And core UI is like the, let's say, framework we built for both Xen Orchestra 6, the new UI, and Exolite. And on the menu this month, we worked on improving the console views with better indication on the focus, loading, knowing when the console is loading, and if there's no console, having a nice placeholder and so on. So many improvements that are really useful, but small things, but combined, creating a really great console. So we hope you will like it, and this is improved at the component level. So this means it will be improved for both Exolite and Exo 6. This month, we worked a lot also regarding the network management in Core UI with all the components and how to fetch the data and so on. So you will see the result for both Exolite and Exo 6, just a word after that. But still, it took us a lot of time, but I think we are getting there, and you will have many more information for all the network-related stuff for both Lite and 6. We got Spanish translation thanks to David, a community member who started to provide the translation for, again, both Exolite and Exo 6, as they are, with a single point of translation, let's say. So it's really great. It was, a complete translation. It was done the old way without using, the WebLite tool, but still, very nice to have people contributing to get, the application in the language they want, and it will be even easier starting very soon with the WebLite tool to go deeper and to go with other language and to keep language up to date, to know which words are missing and so on. So that will be a lot easier to manage all of that. Regarding Exo 6, so after using all the components that I just told you before, we also worked a bit on having a better dashboard for the mobile view, even if we know that almost all users aren't using a mobile phone or phone device to access the UI. We know that sometimes, there's, because you don't have access to a laptop or a desktop, you might use your phone to access an Exo dashboard, an Exo 6 dashboard. So now it's mobile friendly, and it's stacking correctly, all the cards, regardless, the size of the device. So it works rather well. So it was important to do it, even if it's not crucial as people are consuming Exo through desktop. It's a bonus. Regarding the network, so we made some progress, as I said, for Exolite and Exo6. So we have the components that are available there. So we won't have all the detailed panel right now for the release date on Thursday. But still, I will have all the main screens, and the rest is following with everything we need for getting the network inside Xen Orchestra 6. By the way, Exo6 doesn't have yet a dedicated section for preferences like Exolite does, but still, if you change the language from Exo5, it will be reflected automatically in Exo6. So that's a way to continue step by step the migration between the two platforms. Regarding Exolite, not much to tell that I didn't already talk about, since it's using the same components. So you have the network information and so on, the beta console, and so on and so on. Moving on, XOA, we have some demands since, I would say a few years, but a bit more now as we have a different kind of customers to be able to run XOA directly in their own AWS cloud, because they have all their secure tunnel using AWS and using it in the hybrid cloud configuration. And so we didn't have, I would say, out of the box support of getting XOA running on their AWS infrastructure, and we are starting to test it in beta version. If you're interested by that, just let us know. We might also add other providers in the future. It's kind of outside the main process, so we don't know exactly how we'll make that commercially speaking, but still it's possible, and we are testing it, and so far so good. So if you really need that, that's the right time to contact us to participate to the beta, to be sure it works the way you want it works. Let's switch to the REST API. So obviously we added some data in the endpoints, like we told about the getting more accurate data on space usage for replication, because as you know, it's when you use replication, incremental or full, it's not going to a regular backup repository, but to another storage repository, to another pool, or even the same pool, but another storage. And so we had to create an algorithm that is able to get that information and display it. So now it is accessible through, and it's computed correctly through the REST API, and also displayed in the dashboard of Exo6. Talking still about the REST API, we are doing a major refactoring using TSOA framework. So basically, it helps to convert or to generate automatically the OpenAPI Swagger documentation from the code using TypeScript. That's a really great thing, and to us, it requires to use the, let's say, standards of OpenAPI, to use TSOA and so on, to refactor a bit this REST API. So it will be probably available like with a new endpoint called V1 instead of V0 like we have. So we won't destroy everything you built on top of V0. We'll just add another number, V1, and for everyone who wants to start to use the V1 API, you will have a bundled documentation that is providing all the thing you need regarding types and so on and so on. So that's a pretty huge amount of work, but we started and it's going into the right direction. So probably, ideally for this quarter, we could have the Swagger generated for this V1 REST API. As you know, the REST API is now, let's say, the first-class citizen at the same level of the new UI. So that's why we spend some time to be sure to make it right. Some news regarding the V2V tool. So the VMware to Vates conversion tool, doesn't require any manual intervention to migrate VMs. We improved a lot the vSAN support. For your information, vSAN is really different in terms of structure, API, and so on than regular, let's say, VM image repositories in VMware. So we had to make many adjustments, but now it works very well out of the box. So I mean, there's some limitation due to the VMware API, but it works. So basically, if you are running on top of vSAN with VMware, you just connect Xen Orchestra to your VMware infrastructure. Just check the VMs you want to import to stream right into XCP, and that will do it for you, regardless of the fact that you use vSAN or whatever other storage like NFS, iSCSI, and so on. So it took us a bit and still limitation, but yeah, we're pretty proud of being able to do that because it's really not easy, and it helps people migrating from VMware to get volumes and VMs directly replicated to their Vates VMware stack, which is XCP plus XO. Okay, let's talk about the last part, which is the MISC section. So we improved the cloud init drive removal. It was been asked since a bit, like, when you create a VM with cloud init, it creates a small 10 megabyte drive, and after the initial boot, you don't need that drive anymore. So you can, stack many useless drives in your infrastructure. So we added, like, I don't know, maybe a few years ago, the capability to remove the drive at first boot. But we realized for some customers and some users, it was too fast to remove the drive before Cloud Init was just finished by getting the configuration, because we had a race condition between the tools availability and Cloud Init, readiness. So what we decided to do, which is pretty simple but works very well, is to add a timer like 30 seconds after we got the tools. We know that Cloud Init will take more like than 10 seconds to get all the modifications. So it's a trade-off, but I think it solved the problem for many people at a small cost. So yeah, it's fine, and it's an improvement, before what we had. So it's good. Another, let's say, interesting feature that is like more a helper than anything else. When you add a machine in your settings servers, if you don't put a label, it will be empty. And if you disconnect the host for whatever network issues, you just have no explanation or no known name of what you've been connected before. So what we've done here is simple. If you connect to a host, a pool, let's say the first time, and if you don't put a label before, it will automatically use the name of the pool and description right into this label. So even if you lose the connection, you will remember, oh, it was this, I can remove it, or it was, no, I shouldn't keep it when it comes back. So it's frankly very efficient, and we are really happy to have that for our own lab, because we are connected to many temporary machines and we forget which one was which one, and with that we have like not it, but a trace on what it was before. And the final thing for this release is the management of updates for Xen Server 8, which is the rolling release they have. They made many changes on how the updates are working. So last month we managed to fetch the updates, so to list them basically. And this month we made all those updates directly working with the rolling pull update feature, or through the manual deployment. So it's a kind of a commitment, because it took us a lot of time to get it straight. But still, in the end, if you still are using Xen Server, then you just can click on rolling pull updates and you will have all the updates deployed thanks to Xen Orchestra fetching the right files, and calling the Zappy the right way to download them. So it works pretty well, and it's kind of a, let's say, a gesture dedicated towards Xen Server users. There's really few of them, but XCP was forked from Xen Server, and Xen Orchestra is using the Zappy, which is a great project. So thanks to that, we decided to continue our efforts to support Xen Server, and it works, I would say, pretty well, despite we have very few users. But still, anyway, it's now a feature that is working right baked into Xen Orchestra. That's it for the release for January. I hope you enjoyed it, and we are really eager to get your feedback about all the new features and tests that we need to be done by the community to improve the platform. Again, happy New Year, because this will be really a great year with many things. The team continue to grow. There's many new people, so many new topics we could tackle. And as an example, we are at the Xen Winter Meetup that we, Vates, organize for the Xen projects. So it shows our commitment to the open source world, as we are not just using open source, but we are really like shaping project we are using in Vates VMS to be sure that we have, let's say, the capability of doing everything needed to support you, because we have expertise on Xen, we have expertise on the tool stack, and up to the Xen Orchestra and the backup tool, which makes us kind of unique, in the ecosystem. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll get back to you on February for February's release with even more cool stuff to share. So thank you very much, and see you. Bye-bye.